Gemini in Google Drive has added deep research reports. If you've used deep research reports in other tools like Gemini app or ChatGPT or Perplexity or any of the other tools that can do deep research reports, this is the same idea. If you haven't, the way it works is you give it some kind of prompt, and it can be, a short 1, 2 line prompt, or it could be like a really long, like multi-page prompt of whatever you want. And then the model will put together a plan of attack basically, and then it will go out to usually at least dozens of websites. It really depends on how complex your prompt is, but it'll go out to, let's say, dozens of sites, and then it'll put together a multi-page report, usually citing its sources, and it'll give you back whatever you'd asked for. So they've added this to Google Drive now, and what you can do is you start at drive.google.com, and then if you're not logged into a Google account somewhere, then you'll have to log in, and then you'll get to your Drive. Once you're in, there are a couple of ways that you can actually get to the Gemini interface. Whichever way you pick, it will basically add that layer as your source. So for example, if I wanted to start with this sheet, and I go over to the More Actions menu on the right, and I left click that, and then I go to Ask Gemini, and it'll go to a different interface. And this is the Gemini in Google Drive interface, if you haven't seen it. And on the left side here, that test sheet is now added to as one of my sources. And I can always go in and click add and then add more sources from here, but this is just a convenience that since I started with that sheet, it adds it here. Let me go back. Now, if I started up here, let's say with Ask Gemini, it'll go to the same interface, but now it'll put it at that training drive level. So this is just an easy way that if you want to go to the Ask Gemini interface and you know that you want to start with this folder or start with this file or start with, this drive, you can basically go into the interface from whichever level that you want your sources to be at. And then again, you can always just add more sources. So once you're in this interface, you add whichever sources you want, and then it'll have some suggested sources down here. And for this feature, again, we're talking about deep research, and you want to go down to your prompting area here, and then you want to click on Tools. And there's now a new tool, which is deep research. So you click on that, and then it'll change slightly, and then it'll ask what you want to research, and then this is where you put in your prompt. And this is a pretty simple prompt for deep research. Again, you can have pages of stuff, and especially if you're in Drive, what you can do is go into a doc and then put in, if you have a longer prompt, you can go into a doc and then type out your prompt in doc, and then either copy and paste it or just link that here for your prompt. But I'll use a simple prompt just to kind of illustrate the feature. So I have suggest repeatable frameworks to use for prompting an AI tool like Gemini to create photorealistic images to add to my weekly reports. And then the first thing that it does is it lets me choose my sources. So I can basically define where Gemini can search. I can use all my Google Drive, I can do Gmail, I can do chat, and then I can do the web. I will just do the web for this, and then it will take my sources that I have listed over here, and then it will give me an opportunity to add more sources. This is the same thing if I clicked add over here. And I don't have to have anything in here, and most of the things on my training drive are empty, so I'm going to actually remove that. And we'll go next. And then the next thing it's going to do is generate a research plan. And it's basically going to take the combination of my prompt and the sources that I selected, and it's going to put together a plan. It's like, here's what I'm going to do to put together your report. So you can take a second and read through the steps here. Then you can pause to keep reading that. I'm going to move on. If you like the plan, if you're okay with it, then you can just start research. If not, you can click customize, and then I'll show you what that looks like. So let's say I didn't like something in here, and then it will basically lay out the current plan. This is the same thing that's up here, same 7 steps. It puts it as output, and then it's like, well, what changes do you want to make? And I can just prompt it here. So I can just put in like number 4, I want it to be, whatever. Or I can export it to docs because I can't directly edit anything in here. I can just prompt it and describe what I want to change, but maybe I just want to export this whole thing to docs and then just kind of rewrite step 2 and rewrite step 6 and rewrite a bunch of things and then put it back in. Either way, again, I'm okay with it as is. So I'm just going to leave as is. Okay, now it's just giving me another opportunity to either accept or customize. Again, I asked it to leave as is, so this is the same thing that I had before, and now I'm going to start research. And one thing to note with deep research reports is these can take a while. Like, again, depends on how long your prompt is, how many sources you have, how complex it is, et cetera, and then like how many websites the model goes to. But I mean, this can easily take 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Don't expect a quick response. You can open up another tab and do something else, or like walk away and come back later. Usually when I do deep research reports, I will start it and then go do something for, at least an hour and come back. It's not necessarily going to take an hour, but it can definitely take a while. And you can see, just as I'm talking here, it's already up to 76 sites that it's going to go through. So just know it can take a while. So I'll let this finish and then I'll come back and I'll show you the report. Okay, so the report's done, and that actually didn't take that long. I think it's because my prompt was kind of simple. But now what you can do is if you want to go through the model quote unquote thoughts and just basically how it put together your report. And a lot of this, you can actually map it back to the research plan to make sure that it actually followed the plan the way you wanted it to. But you can go through and it has a ton of just different steps in here that it took. Now, I'm not going to read all this. This is a ton of stuff, but it's really just if you want to know the process that the model took. And I mean, it could be for this specific instance, or it could be for future reports that you want to prompt. It's like, okay, what process does the model actually go through? And then you can just kind of adjust your prompt based off of how the model works. But now it's done, and then I can just add this to my sources, or I can just open it and read it. I'm going to open read, and it'll open it up in docs. And this is, let me see, this is 9 pages, which again, prompt was pretty simple. I've had these be dozens of pages. It'll just basically go through whatever you asked it to do. So I asked for frameworks to create photorealistic images to add to my reports. Here are the different sections in here. I have architecture of repeatable prompt frameworks, and this is the CoStar framework, context, objective, style, tone, audience response, and it has specifics for each of those things, and RTFD protocol. And again, I'm not going to read all this, but it's just, this is the formatting of the report, and this is the type of content in the report. So I will just slowly scroll through this, and if you want to actually read through and see what these reports look like, you can pause on whichever section you want to see and get an idea. One thing I'll point out here, I mentioned that it'll search through dozens, hundreds of sites in some cases, and then it will actually put citations in for whatever it has back. So you'll see cite and then cite here, and then there'll just be a bunch of places where it cites, whichever website number they got that information from. So keep scrolling through and let's see. And then here, these are all the sites. So it's like if I go up here, and this citation here is 3, 28, and 37. I can come down to the sources and like this is 3, so 28 is here and 37 is here. So if I wanted to go to those sites and then verify the information, or maybe this isn't detailed enough, so it's like I want maybe 2 more sentences about this, so I can go to these pages and then extract more information, etc. But If you have any concerns about hallucinations or just any kind of just inaccuracies, it usually will have a full list of sources so you can go through and verify information as much as you want to. So that's a deep research report in Google Drive. And just to recap, if you go to drive.google.com and then you go to Ask Google, you can either go in the top right or you can right click on the More Actions menu on a file or folder and you'll get to this interface. And then you can add whichever sources you want from your Google Drive. And then if you go down to Tools and you select Deep Research, you put in your prompt and then it will put together a research plan. You review the plan. You can either keep it as is and start research. You can customize the plan however you want. It will begin your research. It will go through usually dozens of sites, sometimes hundreds, just depends on the complexity of your prompt. And then it will give you a report. You can add that to your sources and then do whatever you want with it, or you can open the report and read it first. I would usually recommend reading the report, not just adding it to your sources, but choose your path, of course. And then that's it. If the report's good, you can keep it and use it. If you want to add another one, do another deep research report. But this is a new deep research, new to Google Drive. Again, this has been in Gemini app for a while. This has been in some other places for a while. It's in Gemini Notebook and other things, but it is new to Drive. So if you use it in the other places, you don't have to connect to Drive anymore. You can just start from Drive. And if you haven't seen it before, it's a really powerful tool to grab a lot of information, do a lot of research, and then you can, again, just easily add it to your sources here and then just extract what you need and then do whatever you need to do. So hopefully that was helpful for you, and thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.